there is a place on Earth where the air itself can kill you. A place where summer temperatures rise higher than anywhere else ever recorded by humans. Where the ground burns, the wind feels like fire, and even the shadows offer no relief. This place is not on another planet. It is right here in the United States. Welcome to Death Valley. Death Valley is the hottest place on Earth. In the summer, temperatures here regularly rise above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The highest temperature ever recorded on our planet, 134 degrees, was measured here in 1913. To stand in Death Valley during peak summer is to feel what another world might be like. The air is so hot that every breath feels heavy. The sunlight presses down on your skin like a physical force. Your body begins to lose water almost instantly. And yet, this land is not empty. It is filled with stories. Stories of ancient oceans, of lost travelers, of people who came here chasing dreams and left with nothing. Death Valley lies in eastern California, near the border of Nevada. It is part of the Mojave Desert, one of the driest regions in North America. At its lowest point, a place called Badwater Basin, the land sinks 282 feet below sea level. It is the lowest point in the Western Hemisphere. Around it rise massive mountain ranges. These mountains act like the walls of a giant oven. Hot air flows down into the valley and becomes trapped. It has nowhere to go. This geography turns Death Valley into a natural furnace. Millions of years ago, this place looked nothing like it does today. Where there is now sand and salt, there were once shallow seas. Water covered this land. Life thrived here. But the earth is always moving. Slowly, over millions of years, tectonic plates pulled the land apart. Mountains rose. Valleys sank. Water drained away. What remained was a deep basin, a natural trap for heat and salt. As the ancient seas evaporated, they left behind vast fields of minerals. Salt collected across the valley floor, forming the brilliant white plains that stretch for miles today. These salt flats are the fingerprints of an ocean that no longer exists. Death Valley is so hot because of three powerful forces. First, its low elevation compresses the air, making it warmer. Second, the surrounding mountains block cool winds and trap heat inside the valley. And third, the dry ground absorbs sunlight and releases heat back into the air, day and night. Even after the sun sets, the valley does not cool. The heat remains, lingering in the soil and in the rocks. To stand here in summer is to feel your own body working against the environment. Sweat evaporates before it can cool your skin. Breathing becomes difficult. Your heart begins to race. Without water and shade, dehydration begins in minutes. Heat exhaustion soon follows. In Death Valley, a simple mistake can become fatal. And yet life exists here. Hidden beneath the desert surface are seeds waiting for rain. Tiny insects live in the sand. Reptiles move slowly, conserving energy. Small mammals come out only at night when the heat fades. Even in this harsh world, nature adapts. Some plants can survive years without water. Some animals never drink at all, surviving only on the moisture inside their food. Life here is not easy, but it is strong. Long before modern explorers arrived, humans learned to survive in this place. Native American tribes lived in and around Death Valley for thousands of years. They understood the desert. They knew where water could be found. They knew which plants were safe to eat. They did not try to conquer the land. They learned how to live with it. Everything changed when outsiders arrived. In the 1800s, explorers and miners entered Death Valley searching for gold and silver. They believed riches waited beneath the sand. Many never made it out. Wagons broke down. Water ran out. People collapsed under the heat. This land earned its name not from imagination, but from suffering. Death Valley, a place that does not care who you are. A place that does not forgive weakness. And yet people kept coming. They built mining towns in the middle of the desert. They dug deep into the earth, chasing dreams of wealth. Most of those towns failed. The heat destroyed machines. Water disappeared. People left. What remains today are ghost towns. Empty buildings, rusting equipment, silent reminders of human ambition. The desert reclaimed everything. Today, Death Valley is protected as a national park. Millions of people visit every year. Some come for adventure. Some come to study the climate. Some come simply to see a place that feels like another planet. It is beautiful. It is terrifying. It is unforgettable. Death Valley is not just a desert. It is a story of nature's power and of humanity's obsession with pushing beyond its limits. Even in the harshest place on Earth, life still finds a way. And that may be the greatest mystery of all. The story of Death Valley is not only written in stone and salt. It is written in the lives of the people who tried to make this place their home. Long after the first native tribes learned to survive here, a new wave of people arrived. They came from the east, from crowded cities, from green valleys. They came chasing gold. In the mid-19th century, rumors spread across America that Death Valley was rich in precious metals. Men sold their homes. Families packed their wagons. They believed that somewhere beyond the burning horizon, their future was waiting. What they found instead was heat, thirst, and endless miles of desert. Traveling across Death Valley was a gamble with death. Wagon wheels sank into soft salt. Horses collapsed from exhaustion. Water barrels dried out. Many never reached the other side. Those who survived spoke of mirages in the distance, shimmering lakes that vanished as they approached. The desert played tricks on their eyes and their minds. Some groups turned back. Others pushed forward. And some disappeared forever. The phrase Death Valley was first spoken by a group of pioneers who barely escaped the desert with their lives. They had been lost for weeks. When they finally reached safety, one woman looked back at the endless heat and said, "Goodbye, Death Valley." The name stayed. Despite its dangers, people continued to settle here. Mines were built. Towns appeared in the middle of nowhere. One of the most famous was a place called Rhyolite. At its peak, it had banks, hotels, newspapers, and thousands of residents. But the desert was always stronger. When the gold ran out, so did the people. Within a few years, the town was abandoned. Today, only broken walls remain. The desert has swallowed everything else. Scattered across Death Valley are dozens of these ghost towns. Each one tells the same story. Human ambition meets the unforgiving power of nature. The desert always wins. But not everything in Death Valley is silent. Deep beneath the salt and stone, water still flows. Hidden springs support tiny ecosystems. In some places, fish exist that live nowhere else on Earth. These fish are the last survivors of the ancient lakes that once covered the valley. When the water disappeared, they became trapped in isolated pools. Over thousands of years, they adapted. Their entire species now exists in just a few small springs. If the water dries up, they vanish forever. Death Valley is a place where extinction and survival stand side by side. The plants here tell the same story. Most of the year, the land looks lifeless. But when rain finally comes, the desert explodes into color. Wildflowers cover the valley floor. Purple, yellow, Orange. For a few brief weeks, Death Valley becomes one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Then the heat returns, and the flowers disappear. This cycle has repeated for thousands of years. In recent decades, scientists have begun to study Death Valley more closely. They see it as a window into Earth's future. As the planet warms, more regions may begin to resemble this extreme environment. Hotter, drier, less forgiving. Death Valley shows us what happens when water disappears and temperatures rise. It is not just a desert. It is a warning. But it is also a place of wonder. The sky here is incredibly clear. At night, the stars fill the darkness from horizon to horizon. Without city lights, the universe reveals itself. In this silence, people feel something ancient, a connection to a world far older than modern civilization. Many visitors describe Death Valley as both terrifying and peaceful, a place that strips life down to its most basic elements: heat, stone, wind, time. Standing here, it is impossible not to feel small. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of Death Valley. No matter how advanced humans become, no matter how much we build, nature remains in control. This land existed long before us, and it will remain long after we are gone. Death Valley does not belong to people. People only pass through it. And for those who listen closely, the desert still tells its story. In the wind, in the salt, and in the endless heat, Death Valley is a place that changes the way people think about the world. Those who spend time here begin to understand how fragile human life really is. Out in the open desert, there is no shelter, no protection, only the sky above and the earth below. The wind carries dust across the valley floor. The sun burns without mercy, and every hour feels longer than the last. Many who come here believe they are strong enough. They believe they can outlast the heat. They believe they can conquer the desert. But Death Valley has no interest in being conquered. Over the years, hikers, travelers, and adventurers have all learned the same lesson. This land demands respect. Every summer, park rangers rescue people who underestimate the heat. Cars break down. Phones lose power. Water runs out. Some survive. Some do not. Each year, the desert quietly adds new names to its long history of tragedy. And yet people keep coming. They come to feel something real, to escape cities, to experience a place where nature still rules. Death Valley offers something few places on Earth can: true isolation. No traffic, no noise, only wind, stone, and silence. At night, when the heat fades, the valley becomes almost peaceful. The stars shine brighter than anywhere else in the country. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light. In moments like these, Death Valley feels less like a place of death, and more like a place of reflection. A reminder that the world is far larger than human problems. Scientists continue to study Death Valley because it reveals secrets about our planet. How landscapes form, how life adapts, how climate shapes everything. The valley records millions of years of Earth's history in its rocks and salt. Every layer tells a story of oceans, of mountains, of fire and water, and now of humanity. We have left our mark here too. Roads, abandoned mines, ghost towns, but the desert is slowly erasing all of it. Rust fades, buildings collapse, the sand returns. In the end, Death Valley always wins. And maybe that is exactly why it matters. In a world where humans try to control everything, Death Valley stands as proof that some places cannot be tamed. It is a place that forces us to slow down, to be careful, to be humble. It reminds us that survival is never guaranteed, that life, even at its strongest, depends on balance. Death Valley is not just the hottest place on Earth. It is one of the most honest. There are no illusions here, no comfort, no easy answers, only the truth of nature. And perhaps that is why this place continues to draw people back. Not because it is safe, but because it is real. A land shaped by time, by heat, by survival. A land that existed long before us and will remain long after we are gone. This is Death Valley, the hottest place on Earth, a desert of extremes, a story written in fire, stone, and silence. And even here, life still endures.